Hey, what's up, my people? How you doing? My name is Dalton, and this is my channel. That's right. Now, I asked you to turn up the volume because I forgot to bring my little attachment adapter with me. So I asked you to turn up the volume so hopefully you can hear me. Okay? Now, this is going to be a brief review, all right, of Uber and my experience recently with Uber, all right. As some of you all know, I took a vacation, definitely a needed one. It's been 5 years since I actually been on vacation alone, with my own thoughts. So I needed one, and I was getting burnout bad. So I was gonna use Uber as a way to get around, right? And this is my Uber review for 2024. So I'm smart. I said, let me buy a prepaid Uber card, okay? Because it'd be just like cash. And then, I can add it to an Uber account and use it that way to give me back and forth on vacation and other places when I go on vacation. Right? It's safe and secure. So I did. And I did this before taking my vacation to Manhattan Beach, California. So with Uber, well, a lot of them you can do this now. With Uber, you can actually, and I'm glad I did this, try to set up a date in the future that you need the cab service, okay? And I knew when I was gonna need to be at the airport. I know I was leaving my car at home. So I did that. Sure did. Bought me that Uber card, prepaid Uber card. Opened up account. Used my ID, like they said. Okay. And had that Uber cash. I was good to go. Right? Submitted my ID. Went through all of that. And never got an email or anything that anything was wrong. So then what I did is I tried to schedule a date ahead of time. And it wouldn't let me. So I'm thinking maybe that's a busy time early in the morning because it was an early flight. And they just don't have anybody, around that time. Which would be kind of weird for Uber. Now, maybe they saw my picture. I mean, I never heard about New York. They see you black. They ain't trying to pick you up. Now, that includes Uber too. So, and I'm in Pittsburgh. So I called tech support. I called support. Well, I tried to call support. You're gonna love this. To find out what's wrong. Well, problem number one. There is no number for you to call for tech support. Okay? Now listen tight. They'll keep sending you to supposedly live chat online. But not an actual person where you could talk to or even see. Now, So I'm up here chatting with this person, and what Uber does, it outsources all this administrative stuff overseas. Okay, it outsources the hell out of this shit, everything. Okay, you gotta remember, Uber, they love their employees so much that Uber was the first major person that was getting ready to jump on board for those Elon Musk cars that drive by themselves and don't need a person in it. Okay? And they're going to use them as taxis and fire all the actual human beings. Look it up. Yes. But it's just that technology still needs work, so they decided to hold off on it. But Uber was going to be first to shaft their employees. So I'm talking to someone, and it's like, I work tech support, so I already know they were going by script. I'm telling them everything, and they're not even answering all my questions, okay? And then they're cutting and pasting little things from this script that they have. As I'm up here just talking to them, telling them my concerns, telling them the problem I have. Now, Uber, as big as it is, has a flaw. And I know it's a flaw because they told me it was a flaw. They told me, you seem to have found a bug that we didn't know about. Uber had the inability to have me resubmit my ID. Their software would not allow me to resubmit my ID. They had no way, not even in their documentation, of how I could resubmit my ID. None. So I'm an easygoing person. So usually when I'm running into something like this, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let it go. Okay. But I had already paid up money, right? So I told myself, okay, I need a refund on what I paid. Then they're gonna bring out the fine print. Sorry, you can't use the money you spent for that Uber Cash, but you cannot get money back that you spent on that card for Uber Cash. It's in the fine print. And it says it's non-negotiable. Okay? So, here I am. They pretty much let me know that I gave them money and ain't shit I can do about it. Now, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of companies and a lot of places will tell you that, but it's not true. Okay? You can, if you use any of your credit card or anything like that, use your credit card, you can call your bank and submit a claim. Okay? And your bank can temporarily give you that money back until that claim is satisfied. Alright, so companies like Uber, these big companies, they like to try to make you feel like you're helpless and you have no choice, but it's BS. So if you use something from your bank to pay for one of those cards or something like that, or even if you had a horrible experience with Uber, you can submit a claim to get your money back. Remember that. So, but me, being smart as I am, I used cash. So I was stuck. They wasn't gonna give me no money back. They wouldn't even allow me to use the money that I on that card for Uber Eats. All right, so now here I am, a day before it's time for me to get to the airport. The money I was gonna spend to get to the airport Uber is not allowing me to use it to get to the airport. So they almost destroyed my vacation. Me having the ability to enjoy and get there on time. All right. Luckily, in Pennsylvania, we have Z-Trip. And we have other cab services that has not been eaten up by the monopoly of Uber. And I hate to say it, even though I love them, Lyft. Thank goodness. So, I'm pissed now, right? So, while I'm on vacation, they send me to tier 2. Tier 2 is like a supervisor. And you know what the supervisor did for me? Nothing. They gave me some pretty speech and did the same thing level 1 did. Cut, put a link to this little paragraph and stuff of why they have to have you submit your ID. I told them I have no problem submitting my ID. How do you resubmit it? They have no way for you to resubmit your ID. Now, I want you to the whole time I'm chatting and sending emails because there is no way for you to have a live person talk over the phone. Okay? Now, if you work for Uber, sure, there's a number you can call if you're having problems. But if you are a consumer, you're stuck with this live phone shit. With this live chat. So, I started getting on the nerves, so they started sending me to different supervisors. One of them even told me everything looks good and I don't see what the problem is. Well, the problem is I can't use the motherfucker. That's what the problem is. So, and you telling me, and your company's telling me that I'm sure I look and they got my money and there ain't nothing I can do about it. Okay? So in the future, if you buy one of those cards, don't use cash, people. Use a credit card. I don't care if it's a prepaid credit card. That way you can submit a claim if something messes up. Even if you have a horrible riding experience, and get your money back. Okay? Now, so while I'm on vacation, oh yeah, I'm still bugging them. All of a sudden, they go, well, okay. We'll let you use it for food. Because obviously, we really don't need to see your face or, I have your ID for food. And clearly, you paid for it. So, they let me use it for some food. But they never did let me use it. Okay, and I heard Lyft is planning on doing the same thing for identification. That's fine. But Lyft, do not do what Uber do. Have a way. Make sure you have a way for a person can resubmit their ID. Okay? Don't do like Uber. Because I was so pissed off and so unnerved that I went to my techie mode and I gave them screenshots. And that's when they told me of everything. Even the error messages. That's when they told me that I had found a bug and a flaw in their system. And they thanked me for informing them about it. And they wanted me, you're gonna love this, they wanted me to connect my Uber account with my actual savings and checking account. Now, so the people overseas can have total access to my information and data. And if one of their employees decide to get pissed off at the company, they can just steal the shit. We as Americans got to be a little bit more careful about buying into these big companies that are outsourcing jobs overseas. We recently had a huge data breach of 3 billion, because it was 3 different countries, not just the United States. 3 billion social security numbers now on the dark web. I know I kept saying black web. On the dark web. So we as Americans, we gotta be more careful with our money and who we trust with our data. Okay? A company can go all outsource if they want to. That does not mean we have to buy into it as Americans. It's our money and we have a choice of what we're doing. And why is it every time someone, what deal do Uber have with the police? Okay? So anytime there's clearly a hate crime done to an Uber employee, okay, it's knocked down from a hate crime to a misdemeanor assault. Every single time when it's clearly a hate crime, it's automatically knocked down by the police, no matter what state it is in, okay, to a misdemeanor assault. I mean, what kickback, what deals do they have with the police? It's something. Number two, thank you, California, for being independent enough and having your own brain. Because when I got to California, there was Lyft, but there was a lot of other cool, reputable, smaller cab companies out there as well that has not been eaten up by the monopoly of Lyft and Uber and all this other, okay? And I hope y'all keep strong, because I had a way of getting around other cab companies if I had that choice. And I love that about California. So keep that up, California. Don't let these monopolies destroy the small businesses. Stop it. Don't do it. Okay? All right. So my Uber review grade, Uber gets an F for me. They almost made me miss my vacation. They didn't have the shit together. Everything's cut and paste when they respond to you. I worked tier 1 before. That's the bottom line. I mean, the bottom level security tech support. I've worked it before. I understand. Okay? But at some point, you need to give it over to your supervisor. At some point, your supervisor's supposed to know some shit, and they didn't know anything. I literally had to show them where the flaw was. And I can guarantee you right now, to this day, they haven't fixed it. Alright? So that's my review. Uber gets an F. Big, fat, juicy F. And not the good one. From me. Peace. Stay strong.